But I think you're going to get a lot of surprises. I think that maybe they'll get a little bit caught off guard. But I do think, more so because it's their first map, I think G2 will have done their research, had a little look into some of the players and find out how they're going to play. And, well, already, a little bit of aggression up Banana. A fairly calm start for Sharks, to be fair. They got a bit of utility, so I wonder if either that smoke is just going to be used to get them past the cross into CT. And on the other side, I do like seeing a double nade. Oh, that did 0 damage.
Yeah, it's not worked out the best. That also gives them the read as well, knowing that they invest into those nades towards that side. They're going to have that extra bit of intel to play with. However, they're all heading towards mid. And this is where Hunter can definitely do some hunting, as there is some prey about to come round the corner. As he sits in towards the boiler room, he starts to turn up the heat. There's the first, but the trade is rapid, Tom, as they fall back into an equal situation. Kenny, though, has been domed. Jax somehow gets the frag. He was caught off guard, but he still comes out on top.
And he's got such a valuable position. Like, up in the apartments, it's a spot that you don't really want to have to be watching this early into your hold. But with the pick control, with 2 players sat back, it's going to be fairly difficult for them coming in. Luckily, only having the USP onto exit is going to make things a little bit easier for Nexa to get the kill. They do still have a kit available to them, and he's even going to get a second as well. It's down to exit to try and hold on, try to cling to life. But that was really nice from G2. And I think the bigger problem I have is the peak. If you have a Glock and you're peeking out, I get that you want the information, I get you want to get that early fight, but your crossfire and pit is so powerful. Like, it's such a hard position to break down. The second you hand away that first kill, the other player's screwed and the player in the site has to get a kill. And
you also wonder what the timeline could have been, where Jax somehow doesn't just randomly survive that and not get the flick off, right? But that's all said and done. Hindsight's 2020. That's out of the way now. They are going to go in for a pause. I imagine there is going to be an issue that they'll quickly try and resolve before we carry on with this one. And it looks like it has been fixed already. So Sharks, fairly tame actually in the opener there. I mean, you know, they're normally no strangers to throwing caution to the wind, but into that one, it was a bit more to be expected of the norm. Here's the investment that's coming out straight away, though, off the back of the bomb plant. 3 AKs are coming out to slay. So let's see if G2 are going to be hitting the DECK, Tom.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible as well. As I said, they played against weaker opposition than they are here, so they might be a little bit more reserved. I don't really want them to be. I'd like them to still be fairly aggressive and try and catch teams off guard. The problem is with them also managing to qualify for ECS, teams have had a little bit more of a look of it. If you almost take a map off Astralis, you get onto teams' radars. I'd like, if you play well or play decent versus MIBR, the same. Especially, it was Nuke, by the way.
Oh,
like, if you almost take a Nuke off Astralis, everybody goes, whoa, 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 whoa. I've got to have a look at them now. Because if that happens, you know that they probably would have taken that Nuke against many other teams. So I imagine the G2 will come into this a little bit more prepared. And maybe we'll see some counters or just adaptations based on that. Early into these rounds, we have seen a fairly passive hold. But Amanek is going to push off of the back of a flash. He's got some utility in his belt still, and he'll be able to slow down any aggression onto Banana, which is clearly the attempt from Sharks, leaving a lurker in the form of Lucan, but he's only got a Deeg.
They are eventually going to push up through that smoke now. Utility left on the B site is just a single smoke. As we get down to 35 seconds, it is going to be thrown out to try and slow down the push here, but no one's there. They've been lampooned. They've been tricked into this. Everyone from Sharks has started to swim their way upstream, round towards the A site. Hunter lying in wait, sure, but he's not given any opportunity. It all comes down to Jax on the outside of the balcony. He might be on a high angle, but the headshots are even better. My goodness. As he breaks both of their necks, eventually gets traded back, but he's done so much damage, he might have just saved the round right there.
Yeah, that was filth. That transition onto the second headshot was absolutely wonderful, but there's still 4 on the G2 side to try and clutch us out. Lucan also doesn't have any armor, so aim punch could be an issue. And also it means every single one of those Famises becomes an instant headshot onto him. He's actually hit 2 dinks now. Hasn't managed to convert any of the frags, unfortunately. Leaves Exit with some whittled away opponents, but they peak together. Amanek does have a kit as well, so no real worries there for G2. A second onto the board. The question now, do you stop forcing? Because 3 players survived for G2, so they will still have money going into this round. You're not going to leave them with too many weaknesses, and for me, that's where you go, just go for some pistols, which, as we can see, they are doing. I think if they get one more kill, they probably buy, though. I think if it's only 2 players trying to like buy it up for 3, then you go, yeah, worth the risk. Let's try and smash him down early.
Yeah, all in, see if you can make the play actually happen. I'll have a technical pause coming out, I'd imagine, as we have slowed this one down again. Beautiful play from Jax, though. That can't be underrated enough. I mean, that was huge. Just the reaction time, the flick itself, very, very smooth. That's the sort of thing you put in a frag movie right there, Tom.
Yeah, I think, well, he gets one more and it's 100% in a frag movie. Oh. Maybe just the amount. I think it's the amount, but that was sick.
But for the smoothness.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd put that on, you'd have like, Bullet for My Valentine in the background.
I think that would also be a good way to sell some sort of alcoholic beverage. If it was like, it's almost as smooth as this.
Oh, that's nice. Look how quickly he downs them.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
But either way, CT side, they've saved up 3 AKs, so this is only going to get tougher for Sharks. And considering, as we've already mentioned, they've coming into this round with a few pistols. The other thing as well is, it's something we mentioned in the Na'Vi game about like the potential of getting the AWP. The fact is, thus far, and probably not even into this round, you're just going to see rifles. The second Kenny gets an AWP, the dynamic of the map changes. Like, Inferno has always been one of his hometown maps. Whether it was working for the team he was playing on or not, that's something irrelevant. Like, he would always do well, especially around that arch side. And I think that is going to be something tough to deal with throughout this map. And I would say that the stars of the show over on Sharks is not the AWP necessarily. It's more of something brought up as like an extra utility. Either way, speaking of aggression, speaking of how this team likes to play, they're going to go running all of the way up. Banana and Nexa, well, as mentioned, he seems to be one of those players that is just so good at holding down simple positions or certain positions. A nice little triple spray down. I think he's also falls into the brackets of players where, I think you'll know what I mean, I'm sure people at home will as well, they're always good for 2.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he seems to be the man that no matter the position, no matter the scenario, he always seems to get at least 2 kills, and then he dies. And that's fine. The same as Jax did in the last round.
Clean stuff. I mean, the positioning he plays alone backs that up, though, right? Like, it's never too risky. It's always quite calculated, but he's confident enough that he can back it up. He's good at giving it, Tom. Yeah.
Well, he's also one of the reasons I understand why G2 went for him over, like, someone like Esperanto.
Yeah.
Is because that if you have like someone like Kenny who can explode into a map, you now want the people around him who are, well, firstly, he's an in-game leader, which is fantastic. They needed that. But also someone who can get the job done, like not necessarily be the all-out star and feel like he needs to be. If you watch any interview with Nexa, he literally talks about the fact that he doesn't care about being the star. He wants to win. And that is, again, that's something invaluable. That's something that most people don't have as a mentality. Yeah. They're like, I need to be used or I need to be utilized well. Whereas he's like, no, I need to make sure that my team play well. If I do well at the same time, that's just a bonus.
This is very true. It's an incredibly underrated feature of a player that has an awful lot of strengths to him. His toolkit is incredibly vast. What isn't vast is the net that Sharks are casting out at this point, as they're going to be heading their way over towards the A site, incredibly grouped up. Pretty much everyone is now there as they've got themselves in position. The smoke goes down towards Arch side. This is going to isolate Kenny as he's trapped in at the minute. Looking a little bit paranoid about this, but he's willing to push out and go for a bit of a spam. We'll give the game away. They now know his position. There's 3 players towards the A site. We've still got the 2-man setup back on B. And Exit is just waiting for those rotations as well. They're going to try and hit it heavy towards Arch. Kenny needs to be poised here, but the double face works out well, Tom, and they finally got Arch control.
Yeah, it's taken them a lot of time to do it. 30 seconds on the clock, and actually that Molotov means that they can't really rotate around in that direction. This crossfire so far from G2 has been fantastic. The rotation from Nexa still a little bit hesitant as Jax sits in the pit. He needs at least a kill here, and the spray not going to connect onto anything. Hunter, I don't know how he's still alive within the site. I don't know how they haven't killed anyone off yet. This is a great hold from the side of G2, but questions need to be asked of Sharks. 5 players push through short, and none of them even really do any damage.
I don't know what was going on. If, like, all of them tunnel visioned so hard, and as soon as things started falling apart, there was just no opportunity for a trade. But the fact they didn't get a single frag at that point Even though it was an awkward opener for G2. Like, it looked shaky. The defense had so many cracks in it. But then, no. Straight back to business. Straight back to giving it. They close it down. 4-0 already as we get into the 5th round. Sharks now with not much cash to play with. They get a double Mag 10 out. You know what? Just go for the fast play again. Bombard up Banana. Are they going to hit that stone wall that comes down, though, from Nexa? Actually, no, Tom. They find their entries, and it all comes down to Hunter. Slapped out of midair. This is the Sharks' aggression we wanted to see.
Yeah, that's the fast play. And last time it wasn't too successful because Nexa did so well at weathering the storm. But, well, this time, basically, Kenny's just hoping for an exit. He's hoping to get someone dropping a gun. A Mac 10 appears out of thin air. That was probably a bit of a surprise, but...
It was a ghost.
Well... I'd be surprised if they go too far up this. I think they're just trying to hold them in. Like, they've got plenty of money over on the CT side, so not really too much of a worry for them just yet. But they do want to still keep... Like, it's an AWP with full utility as well. It's not really worth giving away. Kenny will get his first kill, actually. That's a surprise. They're trying to exit this site. A couple of players a little bit lower, but this definitely isn't worth a one-for-one trade. He needs to get away and make sure he keeps that AWP, and that's exactly what he'll do. But yeah, fast-paced round from Sharks, as mentioned at the beginning. I think that's what they need to do. They need to basically show G2 that, okay, you need to, like, show us respect. You need to be throwing that utility early into the round, otherwise we are just going to punish you for it. I'm still kind of bemused by round number 4. I genuinely don't know how that was clean, but hey, they bounced back fantastically well.
Well, that's the key point, though, right? Is like, right now, they are showing respect to G2, and they want that to be the other way around. As you said, they want to be the ones that are forcing them to get a bit panicky, get a little bit worried about the plays they're going for that are a bit more wacky, that you're not really going to expect too much. So hopefully, Sharks try and keep up a little bit more of that ridiculous style of CS. They lose one of the big dogs of the team instantly into the round, though. This could be rough for them. As Kenny, as soon as he gets one, he starts to do an awful lot of damage with that orb. Leo Drunky coming into play. That's Nexa removed from the equation. But Hunter with a trade, it's so easy. Just shooting fish in a barrel, Tom. They're blind, they can't do too much, and this scares me. They're at short. We've seen how this goes.
Yeah, Jax has been unstoppable so far. The last time he died, it was getting that double headshot within a matter of seconds, and they still haven't cleared him from this angle. Amanek also pushing all the way down into middle. It means that they have every single avenue covered. It's only going to be if shots are missed, mistakes are made, that they actually lose this round. And they know Jax is here. They have to know Jax is here at this point. And he's so clinical. As I said, 10-1. He's had a great start to this game, and well, with 4 players surviving, considering the early damage. The other thing as well, I think the most notable difference between these two teams, which is something I think everybody should point out when you are watching the difference between G2 and Sharks, is the fact that notice how many times when G2 get a kill, there is a flash assist. Then I want you to look at how many times when Sharks get a kill, there is a flash assist. I guarantee the stats are going to go very heavily in favor of G2. And that's just because, like, you know, that early pick that came in from Leo, that was just a dry peek out. Like, that was a surprise to the system. Then Hunter's trade, a perfect flashbang, a very easy kill, no risk there whatsoever. And I think that's something that I've seen from watching Sharks before. I think that as players, as individuals, they have got a lot of talent and they've got a bright future, especially Mayan. As I said, he's only 17 years of age and he has come in as an Argentinian brought into a Brazilian roster. That, like, you only do that for 1 or 2 people. I think the other is Lucan as well. Now, the problem they have, I think that they do lack a little bit in their strategy. And I think that that's going to show. That's why I quite like them throwing in these explosive rounds, because as I said, I think that individually they can give G2 a run for their money. I just think when it comes to the team play and the synergy, that's where G2 has their number every day of the week.
It's one of those things, though, as well, where they kind of do thrive more in the chaos, but they're not really allowed to because of how smart G2 is playing. And on a map like Inferno as well, it doesn't lend itself into it too much. If it was a bit more mixy, say it's Mirage, say it's Dust 2, they could have just been going for all-out, balls-to-the-wall strats basically every day and have been sitting pretty with it. Instead, they're pretty isolated. G2, unless they are willing to take a fight, when we've seen a little bit more aggressive early banana control, they basically haven't had to deal with some of the wilder things Sharks have been doing. This is a bit more default as well, more standard standardized stuff. They're clearing towards top banana. They flash in. They gain top banana control. G2 this time around, they're not playing aggressively for it. They're willing to just hold. They've still got the smokes though. They can drop that down. Classic rotation coming around from Hunter. But once again, it's the standard play we've seen from Sharks, Tom. They try and put the pressure on top banana. They then rotate off and they want to commit to the A site play.
And they've also lost a lot of their utility. Like they have one smoke, a few flashbangs. Nade going to be going down. I imagine, I would expect to see a bit of a rotation. I understand that they clearly have the confidence in their players at this point. Kenny, once again, going to be getting that opener. Jack's looking to try and just shut this one down, and already spraying down a third again. This man has been unstoppable. Like I would just avoid him at this point. That's only his second death, and he took 3 players with him. Leo, wow, a bomb plant, hey, that's a must. Get your team the extra money, but he doesn't even get a second to think about what he's going to do, as Hunter's so good at just shutting him down. But yeah, again, that's where you have an extra Molotov. Maybe it's not so easy for Jax, although I say that there's been smokes around him at points, there's been nades thrown at him. He's been just destroying them.
It's the 101 of how to play like Balk and Pit right now from him. He's doing a very good job of not only getting the 1 frag that he needs, but getting 2 or more essentially every time they've gone for the push. I mean, as you said, literally the second time he started, 13 frags, top fragging on the server by far. So effective at being able to hold towards this A site. He's done so much work.
He's got more kills than their whole team combined.
See, I thought actually when they went for the initial 3 players towards B, they were going to send Kenny over there to try and gain early banana control. Instead, it's just for the extra smoke. They're going to throw that out from Hunter and then back off. And this has sparked the push coming in early as well. Exit though, he gets that kill for free. Amanek not able to do anything. He's got to back off. This could be worrying here, Tom.
That was actually that was a good flash as well. That left Nexa completely blind. Didn't have any support, unfortunately. That's actually been one of the ways that they've been able to get into these rounds, though, is when G2 challenge Banana.
Yeah.
I think it actually goes worse for them, because I think Sharks, we haven't seen, at least thus far, like a proper execution from them. It's mainly just been working off individual brilliance, and unfortunately for them, most of it's been on the other side. Lucan as well, he's someone I expect to perform more consistently, at least, than his younger counterpart, and so far only 2 kills onto the board. So there needs to be a change there for sure. Maybe some early jitters. This is going to be one of the biggest tournaments of their whole career, if not the biggest. But look at this rotation. Look at this read from G2. I think they've started to make the realization that if there isn't presence on Banana at this point, it's probably going to be A.
Are they going to clear this, though? If they second-guess themselves here, this could be so bad for them. Kenny, he knows Hunter's in position. They didn't expect it, Tom. They held it for a few seconds. As the flash comes over, Hunter swings. That's a double kill. Exit will trade it, sure, but at this point you're so outnumbered and you're incredibly outgunned. It looked like Jack's just got a monstrous flick, but instead it was Big Bang Kenny that punished.
Yeah, they are now starting. Well, the thing that surprises me is they've had way more success challenging B, especially when it's early in the round. They have not even come close to taking the A site, and a lot of the time they've been going in versus 2 players.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Like, you normally stack the A site more heavily, but G2 at the moment have been sending the majority of their players over towards B, and to be fair, I don't really blame them, because Jax and Kenny, or Jax and whoever's alongside him, like Hunter for the majority of the time, have just been holding it down. So why do anything else? Kenny looking for that peak. TNT forced out of the angle. Opted to try and take the fight instead, but ends up falling back. Getting caught. And well, this is not going to go well. They're just running into the blender. Nice shot from Leo once again, and a missed shot from Kenny. Just going to opt to fall back. Doesn't want to give any chance to Leo, and well, another 4-man survival from G2. 8-1, a very good scoreline, and a lot of money in the bank.
At this point as well, it looks like G2 have essentially just got Sharks' number entirely. It doesn't matter now. They know the strategies that they've been bringing out. Because what? Really, the only executes we've actually seen have been either a very fast burst up towards top banana, try and establish top banana control if you can. Once they do, smoke it, back off, go for the late round A take. When they do go for the late round A take, Jax just seems to massacre them. So even in the one play they've had that has worked, it was a fast B-Tech. That was the one round they won, pretty much, where they just sprinted in and didn't give a damn. Since then, we've seen nothing. And that was one with 2 MAC-10s, Tom.
Yeah, that was one of the worst buys we've seen from them. I think it did also come down to the fact that G2 were actively challenging it and got caught off. But yeah, at the same time, this has been crazy. And the thing that you really have to look at now is G2 are consistently sending 3 players B. There's not even like a, hey, we're just going to go for this challenge once or twice. It's like, okay, well, they can't take A, so let's just stack B every single time. And there's been no response from Sharks whatsoever. They have not been able to do anything. This is becoming an absolute whitewash. 9-1. They're getting slapped. Like, this is more dominant than the Na'Vi game we saw earlier, because at least, like, Tyloo seemed to be able to get a round or two. This has just been ridiculous. Like, JNT 1 kill, Lucan 2, or even goes up. Mayan 3, Exit 4, Leo 5. And as I said, Lucan and Mayan are the 2 players I expect to perform well. Like, they're meant to be the sort of younger talent, or the ones who have at least shown some stuff in previous matches. G2 are just not giving them a chance, not giving them any way into these games. And we're now finally going to see Kenny having free roam of middle. Still not getting overly aggressive, like strong utility usage out from them. Of course, there's only pistols in this round, so again, a chance to pad some stats. But yeah, we've seen polar opposites. Like, everyone is performing at the moment on G2, and nobody's really performing on the other side.
I haven't been given a chance to either. Every time they've gone for a play, they've just been absolutely battered. This time, they hope to get in towards the B site. The Molotovs are going down, and so are all of the Sharks players. If Aminet can carry on like this, there's the second, almost the third, but luckily enough, his teammates are on the scene to stop this fuss that is being kicked up by Sharks. The 10th round now achieved. If they carry on like this, it's just going to be a beating. I mean, G2, 10 rounds already. Bear in mind, Tom, this game went live not that long ago. Like, these have been pretty quick rounds.
Yeah. It's kind of worried. Again, like, even if you look at this point of the game, I think, what, they have 16 kills total. You add the 2 bottom players up for G2, you got the same. Like, even if you just look at pure numbers, that's ridiculous. Double digits for G2. I feel like morale for Sharks has to be low at this point. Now, obviously, you've got to go into this tournament with some realistic expectations, but especially after, again, like having a decent performance previously at ECS, even if they didn't win, like, you kind of have to now look at this and go, this is unacceptable. Like, G2 have been great, but you want to at least be showing that you deserve your spot here. And at the moment, they've not even turned up yet.
Close on quad, finds that frag, as he will be able to blow his way through Lucan. Hunter, it doesn't take much, does it? He gets that headshot across, Leo Drunky done.
I imagine that's actually how his face looks right now.
Oh yeah, just quite stern, a little bit upset.
Just like, I know, it almost looks like one of those moments where, you know, like...
And that's definitely Hunter's face. The smile, the smirk. And the frag.
It's just so clean. 16-3. We haven't even talked too much about Hunter, and that's because he's just been good in every round. Like, pretty much. Like, his crossfire with Jax has been unreal. He's been playing a rotational role sometimes. He just seems to switch with Kenny wherever Kenny wants to go. I can't see any way they're getting back into this. And the problem is, like, they took a pause earlier. This one, I don't even know what you say. Like, what can you honestly say at this point that's going to mean anything?
Well, there hasn't been any sort of, you know, different strats that have been coming out. We've literally seen the same thing each and every round, basically. Like, the one time they tried to storm up mid, there was instantly a double Molotov, and they all sat at mid for 30 seconds, waiting for the Molotovs to fade. They all had utility. They had smokes, but they didn't want to try and risk it. Then they walked up mid and just got slaughtered anyway because they were just walking into the mid with no flashes. It's the fact, like, they've had tools to make these rounds so much easier, even when they've spent extra money for utility, but they're not using it, so it's kind of rough.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen, like, even, like, just classic nades up banana. Like, for example, when you counter nade back, when somebody's going peeking. Like, I've seen Molotovs, like those Molotovs that land just to force them back. I've seen those all the time, but, like, utility damage should be really high on this map. Like, it's the map for that. We haven't seen, like, for example, much use of apartments after Jax got that early kill. Like, it seemed like that just shut them down, and I suppose they're probably not going to go back to it after this either, because Kenny's just looking to do the same thing. Lucan has found Hunter, though, and they may be able to overwhelm Kenny. This is, again, one of those sort of slightly faster rounds, slightly more puggy rounds, and they found openers left, right, and center. So a change of pace. That's a bit better from Sharks, but again, these are rounds in isolation. These are rounds that you can't expect to win every single time. Like, I don't think you 1v Hunter every round. I don't think you catch out Kenny falling back. I don't think you kill Amanek through the smoke. And well, Jax, to be fair, maybe if you get the rest of what you just did done, maybe you overwhelm him. But even then, every other round he's had 2 kills. So yeah. 11-2. If they get it back to an 11-4, there's still possibilities for them in this map. Like, let's not write them off completely. It's definitely possible that many teams in the past have gone, it's 11-1. Like, we can't lose from here, and get a little bit complacent, a little bit cocky. I'm hoping that, especially with someone like Nexa at the helm of the team, that's not going to be happening. I think they're going to want to finish this as a 13-2 half. And to be fair, I don't say this often, but they deserve it. Like, they deserve the 13-2. Like, most of the time, you look at a match and you go, oh, 13-2, that might be a little bit harsh. There were moments. There's been nothing. Like, there has been a couple of MAC 10 rounds. Like, actually, that's it.
It was the MAC 10 round, and then this was another aggressive round where they went for a burst and apps.
And again, it was like, you kind of feel like Kenny just got timed. Like, again, it was a quick movement, quick switch of pace for the T's to get him, but I feel like if he just holds the angle that a little bit longer, he gets the kill and the round probably goes the other way. But
yeah, because I mean, the thing is, he baited them because they heard the drop, and I think they thought that he had dropped off back in the pit. They push. Normally, Kenny would get that as a follow-up, and then things would be absolutely hunky-dory. Instead, it didn't really work out. They finally get overthrown. G2, I like to see this. Bear in mind, like, how long did we have this game going on before Sharks actually took some time to talk about things and go for a pause? G2, they lose one round, they instantly slow it down. Talk about it, hash it out, come back in now fresh. Obviously, all of them basically have max cash. They weren't bothered. They had like 10k across the board. So they can reinvest. Kenny can stay on the AWP. Everyone can have whatever they want, be it an M4, be it an AUG. Full utility. Everyone's got a kit as Amanek now buys the 5th and final piece. So they're not going to be too bothered. They might actually go back to just playing a little bit more respectful as well, because they started to get a bit more loose. I think they were quite happy to just go, all right, look, I think we've won this. Whereas now, if you go back to the norm, you've probably got the game in your hand. But this is good from Sharks, Tom. They're playing way more aggressive, but please just don't fall into the same trap. Oh. They didn't check it, but luckily enough, Leo Drunky with the flick saves them. Oh, Kenny, talking about flicks.
Yeah, and Jax has managed to find another from the pit. They managed to clear him out. He played around that short side for pretty much one round. He's gone back to the classic. Kenny. Oh, he's still standing. How's he still alive? They killed off Jax as well in the meantime. They finally started to find his kryptonite. And actually, Nexus going to go down. I don't really know how they've got away with this, but that was better. As you said, a change of pace. They get in. A nice shot from Leo as well. And Kenny eventually, after finding a kill, gets overwhelmed. So 11-3. As you've already mentioned, well, you can see Amanek's going for this, and you wouldn't do that unless your money was literally through the roof. Actually going to get another kill. Still making things costly. The T's will have a rebuy into the next round anyway, and it is the last of the half, so it's not going to affect them too much, but maybe changes slightly what they're able to buy.
It's so much better, though, to actually see them once again just going, all right, let's try and push. The only rounds they have won have purely been off the back of them just going in. Like, pretty crazy, fast-paced stuff. That's so much nicer, because beforehand, it almost looked like they were scared because of how well Hunter's been defending over towards Arch side. We saw them playing around it so slowly. The smokes would be there. They'd wait the full 30 seconds because the smoke would go in. Then there'd be the follow-up smoke, and they'd just sit and they'd wait. Whereas that time, they didn't give a damn. They go through the smoke. Fair play. I mean, you know, Leo Drunky, I'm not sure how many times he does hit that shot, but it worked.
Well, the other thing as well is I think you can almost say that from so far, if you're going purely based off statistics, if Sharks don't have the site within the first 30 seconds, they're not going to win the round.
You know what? Yeah, that's actually accurate, which is quite worrying.
It's kind of mad. Like, that has been how this game has been going. If it goes slow, if they take their time, then G2 win. If they pick up the pace, if they get aggressive and fight into these sites, then Sharks have taken the round. And they're back to slow. So we'll see if they can break the trend. That would be a great way to finish off the half. 11-4 is not a death sentence. It's winnable, especially if you get a pistol going into the CT side. But at the same time, feel like G2 are unlikely to let this one slip. As you mentioned, they've had so much money. Still diminished a lot of utility. Maybe they've made the same realization that if we can slow them down enough, if we can get it into the late round scenario, that's where we have our advantage. But considering you have one Incendiary, this is so risky for Kenny, but he's still going to manage to get the pick. And there's that last Incendiary going down. They're trying to execute off the back of this. Nexa boosted up. This Crossfire in play once again. Nice couple of kills coming in, though. Nexa trying to hold on, but it's left all onto Lucan. 1 versus 2. He'll get there in the end, but he's given some extra time, if anything, for the rotation from Jax. It's going to be this deadly duo, which has been so good so far.
It's not a bad spot to be in for him. This could be a 4th final round here for Sharks. He's got the Krieg, a weapon that he's going to be favorable with. He's listening out. Here's the audio cues as they start to storm their way through. The dynamic duo traverse their way through ruins, and they get out towards the bomb. He's playing it a bit risky on the peak. He wants to get the first frag. He's done so. He just needs to play for the bomb now. But Jax, the confidence of this man, he's just going to sit on the bomb. The awkward spam. Tom, he doesn't get the connection. Jax is allowed to come off the bomb, get the kill, secure the 12th round for G2. That is outrageous that he's won it. This is a mad game right now. G2 dominant as ever. Let's see if they can carry it on in the second half after the break. Back in with the action. We said there might be some blood in the water, but I didn't think it would be the entire amount of blood that sharks have in their bodies, because they look dead, honestly, Tom.
Yeah, luckily, like when you knock out the teeth of a shark, they do actually grow back. So maybe they've still got a little bit of bite left in them.
That was a good animal fat there. Fantastic stuff. I mean, they're not looking like quite the Megalodon today, are they? But let's see if they're any good on the CT side, or if they'll be a bit more of a basking shark and just getting some kelp going their way. As they're being overthrown, Leo Junkie's been taken out of the equation. The rest of them have stacked towards the B site. This could be a detriment to their health.
Yeah, luckily they do still have a kit available to them, and that fast frag from Lucan actually gives them a little bit of extra space. The problem is the crossfires from G2 so far have been utterly phenomenal. That's been something they haven't been able to deal with individually. They've been sound as well. Nexa missing quite a few shots, and that's given a way out. That's given some space. Kenny tries his best, and it's left on to Amanek. He's got to burn that clock down. They actually just picked up the kit once again, and Mayan's going to take his head clean off. Should just about have enough time for the defusal as well. And Sharks are going to get a pistol, an important one at that.
They needed a round. They got one given to them there off the back of a huge play coming through. Is this going to rile them up a little bit, though? You know, aggression was their key to success on the T side. Before that, they were basically getting bodied. Now they're on the CT half. They've actually finally got a bit of cash to play with as well, winning that round. Could this be the start of something new for them, Tom? A new chapter, perhaps?
Maybe. It's going to be quite a long fight back, so plenty still to go. The thing as well is with this pause, I don't know if this is technical or tactical, but I wonder if G2 are going to be making a decision of whether or not to actually force this, because they definitely don't need to at all. They're so far into the lead, they could just wait, and that's the thing. The problem with having such a dominant half for Sharks is, say, for example, you buy a few pistols, you drop 2 kills here, right?
Yeah.
Then G2 buy back up with a full buy and crush your economy. You're looking at 13-4 when you have to basically either force buy, which then sets you up for an eco if you lose, or you eco and then you're giving them 14 and you have to win 10 rounds in a row just to get back into it. So I would actually quite like to see just a save here. Of course, either way, G2 is still going to be massively with an advantage. But if they force, I just think if then Sharks win, they pick up an extra couple of like guns, maybe a Krieg or something, I think there's more of a chance of them getting back in.
No matter what, it's going to be a struggle for them. There's no easy route the entire way. It's definitely going to be a hard-fought fight if Sharks want to come back into this. I mean, at the very least, I guess, it's, you know, it's CT side Inferno, so you got that going for you. It could work out well, but the team play was a little bit of what was letting them down the T side, so that's going to be an even bigger detriment for your livelihood, really, on the CT half. And G2, everyone looked hot. They were looking fired up. Oh, here we go. This is it. We're truly seeing the Galil coming into play with how cheap it is now. 3 Galils bought up into this round, Tom.
That is something that nobody asked for. I'm not a fan. I don't like the gun.
Yeah, not a big fan?
No.
Big Galil, the IDF defender?
No.
No?
Don't like it. I even prefer the FAMAS. Prefer the FAMAS to the Galil. By quite a long margin, actually.
Well, especially with the updated burst fire, mate. It's a little bit tighter.
Ooh.
That's what we like.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, looking like the T's are going to go for a little bit of an updated version of the burst apartments. Jack's going through the flashbang. Amanek to get the opener. They sort of gone past the exit. Unfortunately, they're going to be sent back packing because of it. J&T is going to set them back quite significantly. It's going to take a little while to retrieve the bomb. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. He didn't know it was on top of the balcony instead of below. That's given so much time for the rotations. The thing is, though, has Mayan got this perfect? It just depends. If he gets this kill... No, he doesn't! He didn't expect Hunter to peek. Now that gives Hunter the chance in the clutch. A 1 versus 1. Lucan, he may be aware that he's in the apartments, but he's not aware that he's currently running all the way back towards B. I think he's slowly making the realization. Or is he? No, he expects him to come out the apps. This is going to give so much time to Hunter. Lucan does at least have a kit, an incendiary, a smoke, and a flash. So he's well set up for a retake. But this is going to be painful.
He still thinks it's B, Tom. He's still holding for it only now, once the bomb has been planted, does he start his huge rotation. Basically a marathon to run as he makes his way over towards that B bomb site. Hunter, he's armed with the Galil, the lesser of the 2 weapons, but right now it seems the bigger of the 2 brains. He's had such a smart play into this clutch already. And he see it through to the bitter end, though. The Molotov goes down. Lucan thunderous footsteps as he makes his move up towards the bomb site. He's going to telegraph exactly where he is. He drops the smoke. Hunter didn't see it. Oh, the reaction time! He gets the flick across. He doesn't have much time. Luckily, he has the kit, and I think he's got this just in the last second. Barely saves the round for Sharks in the 1v1 clutch.
That's going to be one of those ones where, like, Hunter literally did everything right there. It's just right at the end. You're going to be thinking, if I waited 1 second, I win. It's a little bit unlucky, but good job from Lucan. An important round for them, as said. Like, if that did come back as like a straight breakback, it's a problem. The only thing is now is you kind of have to hope when you do break that force buy, you had a few more players alive, because now this round has to be clean. Because in the next one, a full buy is coming for G2. So any real damage done is going to be problematic. That was some fantastic utility damage, though. Those HEs have done so much. The flashbang as well is fantastic. Mayan, this is what we wanted to see from the youngster. Finally gaining in confidence, gaining with that aggressive peak. And while Hunter, he's going to get one. But as said, even one more kill here is kind of okay, because the money's not amazing for Sharks.
Will fall, goes down in the end. Prime utility usage there, though, from Sharks. It looked like a flex tape advert, Tom, because that's a lot of damage. Yeah,
and to be honest, I think it's one of those things where, from what I saw in Pro League, like the actual Pro League season, they look like they have improved. Like, we've seen a few more flashbang assists coming in for them. Like, I think it was Mayan, when we were looking during the break, had, like, in the first half, 17, like, effective flashes. Not flash assists, of course. There's no real measurement for that. But, yeah, it's good to see. The utility damage in that round was good, but it's whether or not in a round where there's actually a buy on the board, if they are going to struggle. 12-6. Only one man actually on A. That is not something you see very often. Rotation is going to come in quick, and Hunter, like, his position could be valuable if Leo exposed himself at all. Seems like he's aware of the angle, though.
Taste of their own medicine given to them there by JNT. He will be burnt to a crisp as Jax will track out that Molotov. Hunter near misses with the Krieg. Won't get that elimination. This puts them into a bit of disarray. This could be a struggle, although it's a quick comeback. As all of a sudden the trifecta of G2 pop off. They all find a frag apiece, and it just falls onto Lucan. He's in the 1-on-3. He might not fancy his chances, instead looking to try and back off here. This will be the 13th round for G2. And this is the worst case scenario, really. Smoked off, not really a chance. If they walk out of it with this round, this is going to be such a struggle going forward for Sharks.
I don't even really know what the plan is here.
I don't know, maybe try and wait for the exits. He might swing just before the bomb blows, see if he can kill the player that's in pit if he does enough damage. But
yeah, I feel like that's a good idea if you're the one with better economy.
I mean, it could work quite nicely. Oh, no.
Okay.
He wants the Krieg, though.
Yeah, I just... If you're the one with the money,
yeah,
then damage your opponents. But if your team has no money, save your gun. Luckily, he does get an SG, and I think he just wanted to try and remove one more player. And they are going to force this. This round alone could end the map. Like, this is where everything's being spent for Sharks, and even that's not going to be very good. And then after this, they have, what, 1,900 loss bonus? And then, what, do you let them get to 15? It's not a pretty picture being painted. Apologies for that. But we'll see. JNT had an opportunity there. Flashbang was decent, but not going to be able to get anything off the back of it. They do still have a reasonable amount of utility available to them, so at least could get some stopping power, and Jax is not going to expect anybody to be there. In fact, I like how Amanek didn't even turn. Like, he sort of looked just in case someone was pushing, but he's just opted to take the arc control instead. Leo, again, is going to peek out and get another with the MP9. Said it was a crucial round. That's a crucial play. This could be as well, though. Amanek, spoon-feeding information to the rest of his team, knows that there's a man just around this corner. Might go for a little bit of a peekaboo, and that's going to be an SG picked up as well, which is an important find. Now the bomb goes wrapping back around, potentially to the B site, with 3 players deep in A. Mayan, the youngster, a lot on his plate.
It's being pushed from all open angles of attack here. At least he's playing it smart. I mean, holding over towards Ruins. Field just carried on watching. He could have got the shot across and at least denied the push that's coming in from Amanek. Instead, he's swinging out. He's wilding as he goes for the push out towards the site. He's exposed from the rear, and he is going to get shot right in the rump by Amanek. Taken down as a stray bullet will land in the head. And it just comes down to this. The man that's got a beautiful 2K into the round with the MP9, leading the charge for the CTs as the Resistance tried to make their move back in towards the B site. Video game Drunky, what can he get up to into this round? Nothing at all. Hunter will eliminate him. There's the follow-up from Amanek. Kenny S for the final blow as exit. He'll find his exit in this world.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where I understand why they wanted to fight it because they're so far down. I think that's the excuse, right? They're losing by so much that not playing that 3v3, you kind of feel like you're giving up an opportunity. At the same time, when you're walking in with 2 players with about 30 HP total, and then the other has like a FAMAS and no utility, you don't have a kit, you have one guy who's using a scout, one guy using an MP9, like, you needed an absolute like miracle. Like you needed basically G2 to just run out holding a white flag. Like it was just not going to happen. Like I get it, but at the same time, I just think, could you have done more with the weapons in this round? I feel like that's the case. It's unfortunate they were in like a complete catch-22 where there's no real winning. Like if you save, you've given them 14. If you go for it, at least you have a chance of winning in a 3v3, but that after plant situation, I didn't doubt for a second G2 were going to have that dead to rights. And hey, this round, it's just an eco. They've spent nothing. They're going to try and rotate in. Even an extra $300 for them would be something extra to take into the next round because their money's not going to be great. But the firing range has done its job.
Very easy. Very clean. Very standard. Essentially what we've had over the course of the entire game so far for G2. The worst part is as well for Sharks now is not only do they have no cash, they don't have the commodity of rounds, so they finally got money once again. They're going to reinvest into it. Even then it's a little bit scrappy. We're not seeing that much utility. I mean, they've got the smokes. That's the dream scenario at least, but there's no HEs. There's none of that offensive utility that is quite literally the lifeblood of CT side Inferno because you can do so much with it. Being restricted on that could really mess up their play.
Yeah, I like the fact that you read straight out of my dating profile. Easy, clean, and standard. Here we go, though. Early trades. Actually going in favor this time of the CT side. We've seen some aggression out of them, but Hunter's going to use that. He knows there's 3 players on the other side of the map. This setup might be painful, either for Jax or for the CT side. Because Jax is making a lot of noise. He actually has the bomb. I don't know how he gets away with a kill there, to be honest, with that crossfire. And Hunter, I don't know how he didn't manage to get that kill. But he's now sent this into a 1 versus 3 for Kenny to try and fight back. He has had a great map so far, 19 and 9. But how on earth do you win this? Interested that they've sent 3 players that way, but they don't have control of the bomb anymore. There you go. Okay, that's fine. Mine's going to go back.
I was going to say, I was looking at it, I was just like, you've got 3 players on A, you fully rotated, you can't see the bomb, you couldn't see the bomb even if you wanted to, and they've just gone, all right, boys, we'll just go for a stack here. Bizarre. But Kenny, in the 1 versus 3, I mean, it's A site Inferno. There's been countless highlights from this man. Normally with an AWP in his hands, but with a Kalashnikov, he's just as efficient. He can be a bit of a rampant rifler at times. Let's see what artistry this man can do into this round. A bit of damage done onto Leo Drunky, bringing him down to 57 HP. He's got 20 seconds on the clock here, Tom, and he's gone for the gamble play. Ooh, actually, no. He's trying to ruse them, and it's going to work out. They're going to go straight past him. Oh, Tom, Kenny, he's a magician. He gets the first frag, rotates back round towards the bomb site now in a 1v1 here against Exit, but he's just going to go for the plant. He thought they'd rotated off. Surely he doesn't get off the draw in time. He hasn't seen him. He will fall. God, did he invest into an invisibility cloak?
I don't know. That was amazing. I think the unfortunate thing is, say he kills him when he's running towards him, he has time to plant the bomb. And that's the only difference. Like, he didn't actually get the bomb down there in time. No. So it wasn't even a clutch situation. It was more of survival. And yeah, that's going to be a little bit damaging. But ultimately for G2, it doesn't really matter. They've got a lot of money. They've caused a bit of cost. And I like that from Kenny. Like, just throwing in something a little bit special, like baiting them in. Aggressive peek from him. He's going to be caught off. Again, we're going to see this fight onto Banana. I love to see it from the Sharks. take that map control away. Don't allow G2 to do anything on that side of the map. And once again, they've almost forced them back into a play towards the safe site. It is only early. There's plenty of time to play back, but when you have limits to your buy, I love seeing those sort of plays.
Absolutely wild. The confidence right now. This is what we need as well, Sharks. The aggression, the offense is what was giving them the highest chance of winning those rounds on the T side. The same can be said for their CT half now, as they're showing a little bit more presence. The disrespect is coming out. But now they need to respect themselves. They need to be able to capitalize when this push comes in towards the B site. JNT going for the cheeky little side sway as they'll drop the smoke out. It's not going to slow them down though. They're big and bold enough as they're going to push straight through. There's an awkward hug going on as they're exchanging a little bit of love in the smoke. A kill found. JNT spamming away wildly. Gets the follow-up frag. All the damage has been done right now. G2 are crumbling to bits. It's like a stale biscuit, Tom.
Hunter just about gets the bomb down, but I think this has to be all she wrote. Not really a chance. He's made some extra money for his team. He'll at least be able to take one down, but Mayan is going to be there. An 8th onto the board. Starting to at least make this a respectable scoreline. Again, there's still so far to go if they're going to have any way of making this a victory.
The likelihood of them actually winning this game is so low off the back of the way it was going. But that chance is getting higher and higher the longer they carry on like this. But the fact is that's going to be scary is G2, obviously they're on that match point. It's literally going to be teetering over their heads every single round. You make one mistake, that's it. It's over. You don't have any breathing room. But Sharks definitely look like they've started to get a bit more confident, potentially warming up at this point. They look shaky in the first half. They look like they didn't really fancy even their own strategies that they've done before, that they've backed up. Maybe now, Tom, they're actually looking a little bit more like their previous selves.
Yeah, I like the amount of aggression we're seeing from them as well. Like, that's definitely what they should be doing and should have been doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like when like the aggressive plays were what worked for them when they're on the T side, like just getting up in the faces of G2, challenging them 1-for-1. Strategically, yeah, sure, G2 have definitely been better. Like, their synergy has been flawless, but yeah, this is making things interesting. And with them starting to properly fight for Banana, forcing G2 to really challenge for certain positions around the map, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Sharks. The only problem is, as you mentioned, it is looming over their head. They are one round away from losing that initial matchup. Then they have potentially elimination being named very early on. And well, could be watching to see whether or not they are going to be able to fight this back and give G2 a bit of a run for their money.
G2, they have a Galil, a Mac-10, double Deagle, and a CZ. That is the arsenal. The tools of destruction they're bringing to the table here in round 24. For Sharks, they're armed to the teeth, and they have a lot of teeth, being essentially what is the equivalent of a lion of the ocean. Let's see where we're going to go from here, though. Waiting for the push to come in. Mayan just jump spotting, hoping to see if anyone is going to head over towards Banana. He could drop the flash, he can retreat. He gets first contact, peels back, he'll flash over, and then just hold for the play. He doesn't have a smoke, though. He doesn't have any support yet. It's going to be a late rotation coming in. This actually could be awkward. Luckily enough, Lucan finds the frag, gets the headshot. Merlin comes into play as well. Jax has been taken down, and everyone is faltering. However, Hunter, he can always be so proficient into these rounds, Tom. When you need him to show up, he normally does. Unfortunately, he won't be showing up when he's dead. Both of them punished by JNT's AWP, and Sharks live to fight another day.
Yeah, he was one of the main players who just didn't really have any impact very early on in this match, but we've started to see a few of them now rise to the occasion. Lucan and Mayan performing. Like, I still remember there being a point where I think it was the bottom 2 players of G2 had 9 and 7 frags, and that added up to 16, which was the whole of the Sharks roster. So they've come a long way. It was 11-1, remember? This was a dominating scoreline, a 12-3 half, and they've started to grind things back on the CT side, which it makes me sad in a sense of you wonder what could have been if they had started out on that CT side, maybe got a little bit more confidence ready for their T side. Still haven't seen too many proper full buys out from G2. They've been taking some riskier force buys and trying to sort of break them a little bit earlier. Instead, they're just going to have to break this side once, but it seems easier said than done.
gamble stacks, though, from Sharks. At some point, they're not going to pay off. Luckily, Exit does a lot of damage here. Finds the first frag, stays alive, but he needs a second. He's buying his teammates time for the rotation around J&T with the AWP. Struggle there as he misses the shot, but it won't matter. His teammates have already been able to clean this one up and get it back into a better position. Leo Drunky starts swinging as he'll be able to knock the block off of Hunter, and it just comes down to Kenny S. Forced to retreat as he breaks his ankles.
Yeah, that was an interesting play again with their sort of main defense being on the B side of the map, clearly feeling that that's where they need to try and hold on. Kenny's going to be executed, and I'm actually starting to worry a little bit for G2. Like, these sort of rounds, you should be able to break into the site, especially when there's only one man there. They even get the kill on the player on Arch side, and then it just seems like the rotation got there so quickly from Sharks that they managed to shut down both players attempting to cross. Now, this round looks like an apartments burst. Either that or they're going to rush banana. Like, those are the only two scenarios I expect to see in this sort of round with this sort of purchase. If it is a slow play, I'll be very surprised. Instead, they're just going to fight straight into mid once again. I'm kind of disappointed. Like, we've seen them attempt this the last couple of times, and it has been a failure. The early defense that was gathered up isn't going to work, and actually, no, they're going to try and split back. And that could be a problem. There's only J&T really defending, but he does get the kill. Now Lucan is just going to throw out a little bit of counter utility to try and slow them down as they look to pressure onto his position. The bombardment of this G2 roster, as they've attempted this a few times now. J&T, Lucan, a great crossfire to hold down this site. Their CT side has been nigh on flawless, and it doesn't look to be changing anytime soon.
The gamble stacks they've been going for are working out so much better. The timing's perfect as well with the way Lucan's playing it towards top banana. As soon as he gets the info, throws out the flashbang, retreats towards the site, even though he doesn't have a smoke, so he can't try and waste time himself. The rotations to save him have been pretty much perfect. They've been getting there every single time. They find the frag, they stop the push on towards the site, and they save the day. Sharks, from the position they were originally in, they only need 4 more rounds now. This is going very, very well. G2 as well, burning their way through their pauses as there's going to take another timeout to try and talk about things and see what they can change. Saving grace being they do have cash across the board, so the AKs are going to be coming out to play. Don't think Kenny's going to be on the AWP though. Not the worst thing in the world if we do have those 5 AKs. Maybe they'll try and set the pace a little bit different to what we've seen. The standard plays that haven't really been working for them, Tom.
Yeah, I think this was definitely a moment to take another bit of a timeout. I also think that...
Oh, Kenny's going for the glass cannon.
Yeah. The thing is, I think that they do need to try and just slow down a little bit and work the picks. They've been trying to just brute force their way through it, and I think that so far we haven't seen them work it. Like, sure, in the last round it was still an attempt to like pull rotations out, but I think the pick play is where you do expect G2 to actually be doing better than they are. Again, very dynamic CT side. I have to say I've been thoroughly impressed, and Hunter's just going to get taken down straight off the bat. Again, trading very effectively with rotations coming in fast, and G2 are getting absolutely dominated. This is looking like they've reversed roles completely. I'm bemused by it. Like, the thing is with Sharks, because they're relatively new to the, I would say, the top tier, like playing the top tier of Counter-Strike,
right?
I didn't expect massive amounts on their T side. At the same time, G2, I expect more. Like, I think they should have closed this out by now. Like, this was a 12-3 half and 11-1 scoreline. We're now at 15-12. They've had so many attempts to try and close this out. We're seeing similar things. I would love to see them attempt an apps burst, because in all honesty, I think that is where we see some of the weaknesses. And look at the confidence being gained. Leo, sure, he gets traded out eventually. Okay, that's a bit of an issue. Kenny's going to get the kill with a Molotov, and now there's actually only one man left. Incendiary gets picked up and can be thrown in, and AWP has also been retrieved alongside some extra couple of weaponry. They're waiting patiently, but Nexa doesn't hit the shot. He's not even going to get the second one either. A few slip-ups, a few mistakes being made from either side in this round, but Exit has found everything they need. And it's all going to be on Amanek. They didn't really stand a chance. I don't know how he even survives this round.
Alone, isolated, trapped in pit. The 2 missed AWP shots are what gave him an opportunity. He gets the first frag, he stays alive, he cleans up and keeps them in the game there. A round that was having an amazing start for Sharks. It all looked incredible. And then we saw a bit too risky play. You've gone for the wide swing with the AWP, you've missed it, you've burnt to a crisp. That was G2's moment to just run away with the madness and be able to bring this back, Tom. Instead, we're now at a 15-13 scoreline. The final tactical pause comes out for G2 as well, as they have ground this game to a halt. This is absolutely wild. Are they going to be able to even get back in this, or are we being shipped over to overtime? If Sharks carry on the way they've been playing this, that very well could be the case. They've been incredibly dynamic on their CT side. They opt to go for a double AWP into this as well. But they're not sending 3 players towards top banana to try and establish control with it. Curious to see if J&T can actually find a pick this time around as well towards mid. He's opted to play it quite aggressively, but he does fall back. He's not going to overstay his welcome.
Wow. Lots of utility being expended into middle by either side. So many grenades just being thrown out to try and deny that early presence from G2. Everything just coming to a little bit of a halt. Flashbang going to be thrown out. There's already 4 players on this side of the map, with Lucan playing that solo B-roll, which I have to give props. He's done a very good job. Mayan starting to make his rotation back, and Smoke does land to at least gain them that middle control. That's the idea, at least. Luckily, there's nobody really challenging around that corner, so not too much of a problem. They're trying to sell this into a fake because they have gone in that direction so many times, but with 2 players deep into the site, the CTs don't really need to rotate, and they're going to get the information very early, actually. They're being a bit cheeky with their peaks. They pushed all the way up. They know so much about what G2 are planning, and sure, you do have Hunter lurking on that side of the map, trying to maybe sell a little bit of a fake, but I love this from the CT side. They've retaken map control they previously lost. G2 are going to come back in here thinking, hey, we've already cleared this. We've already taken this map control, and J&T is patiently waiting. There's only 25 seconds left. What are G2 going to do?
G2, it's all or nothing. This is it, but then the investment comes to crown. It was nearly a collateral for J&T, but they're just going to offer themselves the sacrifices one by one. Exit, he's been such a nuisance. A thorn in their side towards Pit. Finally, they've been able to slay him, dethrone him with the Krieg as Amanek connects the headshot. The bomb goes down. It's a 3 versus 3 retake here. They've all got kits. They have very limited utility, though, on either side. There's no smokes, just 2 flashbangs and a single Molotov for G2, Tom. This is going to be a messy retake, but they need it to stay in the game.
This is not the round I expected G2 to be taking, but with the clock ticking, there's so much needed from this CT side to bring it back, and it's just not going to be happening. They finally get themselves into this A site, and that's when they finally close out the game. G2 win it 16-13 after being 11-1 up at 12-3 half. Sharks with an impressive grind back on their CT side. Definitely a bit of work to do on the other side, but you could say that for G2 as well. And I'm honestly blown away at the fact that that went so far. Also, the round that G2 win